Welcome to regional. This is gonna be round one. I'm going up against Invoked Blue Eyes. It's one of the variants, one of the budget variants. It's not a bad build. But if you want to play the Playmat version, I think that one's far superior because of the ability to just play conservative and not have to like deplete your entire hand onto the board if you need to, depending on whether you get charm beaten and so on. But if you take those out of the equation, then you should be fine. It's just being able to just go for the Playmats stuff, set Drill Beam, search Veiler, set the Majesty Knot, Plains in Nibiru if you don't need to. I think it's fine. I mean, it makes sense. Like if you start with Invoke, I guess if this doesn't get Veilered or imperm or negated at all, then you can start off with an Omni Negate, which is cool because that means you can just end up getting your field spell and you can get access to another summon which can be taken up by your Sage. So his sequences, he's going for, I'm assuming he's trying to get to a Seals or something along the lines of, I'm not sure. I think he's just trying to get another interaction, another form of interaction, whether it be an SP, but I'm pretty sure he's trying to get to a Spirit setup, and which you couldn't sequence it in a different way, I think, because you have to banish the Link. You don't want to be banishing the Blue Eyes. So then he just adds back the Alistair, puts the invocation back into the deck, and he activates a Roar to summon, and I'm like, yeah, my hand can't really play around a Seals Bounce, 3 back row, and an Omni Negate, so I'm gonna try to cut them off of that. Just deal with the back row and the Mekaba. I think it should be okay. So then he just passes, and I'm like, okay, withdraw for turn. I have my hand's pretty damn good. Like this is like a typical Adventure Crystron hand. So we're gonna initiate our turn with Terror Top because it's just free. And then he imprims it. I'm like, okay, interesting. So now I'm gonna have to lead with my right to try to force back row. Just to basically bait things before I attempt a Synchro summon. Yeah, then I'm gonna get access to my Fateful. I have Ogre to take care of the Mekaba, assuming I can't clear it by battle or anything. So then right here, I just summon this, and then I trigger the effect of Fateful to add an equip spell. But he imprims it. I'm not sure if he was aware that I couldn't use the effect of Tristaros, because I explained to him what it does and what it did, and he just imprims it. I'm like, okay, interesting. I mean, that was like a misplay there, because I couldn't use the effect anyways. Even if he chained something in response, I can't go chain 2 Tristaros because I can't. Right prevents me from doing so, because Right says you cannot activate the effects of normal summon monsters. So then now I'm like, okay, that's fairly easy. I cleared 2 back row already. 2 imprims are gone. I'm gonna bounce the Mekaba, and then all I have to worry about now is the back row. But I have my Griffin to negate the last back row. So then now I feel quite secure. And then I'm going to Synchro into a 5 because all Tristaros needs is just any Synchro, so I can pop it and then summon 2 from deck, which will give me access to my Sofador, and the Sofador snowballs from there because it just ends up sending cards to the graveyard, getting Self-Near to the grave, getting my TEESPRING.
Destroy a Synchro I control to summon 2 Crystron from deck.
Yeah, I'm just letting him know. I think he's fairly new to this deck. He doesn't know what Crystron does, or did at the time. Hopefully he knows now. Hopefully he retained some of the insight. So I summon Sofador and my Tristaros, and it feels odd every single time I do it this route because I'm used to floating something into something with a Lesk, but we popped Hagoida instead. And this is what you'd usually send. This is how you get access to your stars normally, but this is how we get access to our Smiger, right? Pitching for Sofofnir and then getting Smiger to the graveyard so I can banish it to search for inclusion or cluster. So I synchro into a set. I'm pretty sure synchro to a dragster just to ensure I can check that back row. Yeah. And then he goes, I think he flips the fusion. I'm not sure what he was going to go into. But I just negate it. I'm like, okay, I'll just negate it. Because I know his last card in hand is Alistair. And at this point, I think I should be okay. Yeah. I pitch for Sofofnir, discard a Crystron card, summon it from hand to grave, and then pop a card of control. Yeah.
When he's destroyed, I can summon a Crystron from deck.
Yeah, just letting him know what these cards do. Then I'm debating on what to summon.
Yeah.
And then he just scoops. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So he's gonna get to start again. So the ogres are really good into this matchup. I have my lightning storms ready. I have my duster ready. I think I take out the mourners. Pretty sure I take out the mourners. And I leave everything else intact. I keep the nibs. I keep the veilers, the imperms, the ashes, the tact. I keep everything in. I just swap out the mourners. So then I draw. My hand's pretty damn good. I draw into an ogre and I draw into a droll. And droll is quite devastating, especially if you pair it with something else. And in this case, ogre for the true light, just essentially turn skips them, which is insane. And this is kind of one of the issues with this variant. I mean, I guess he can still play. If I didn't have that ogre, I think he'd be in a better position, because that means he'd have access to true light. Maybe, I'm not too sure. Yeah, he gets access to true light, and then I have this ogre that's just waiting on standby. It's like just activate true light, and then just ogre this away. Yeah, I just ogre it, get it out of here, and the Alistair just gets nuked as well. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, well, how can he extend? How does he extend? Because I know he has access to invocation, so he has an Omni at the very least. He has an Omni and then possible non-engine. My hand's interesting because it's not the strongest hand. I open up C-Tree. I open up C-Tree, Turtle, Sofofnir. So it's not the worst hand, but it could possibly lose to 2 interactions if timed correctly. So that's what I'm kind of like thinking, like, okay, I need to draw something good here. And he sets a back row and he passes. So I'm like, okay, so 2 unknown. I draw into Smiger. I'm like, okay, this fixes my hand a little bit because this plays around a couple hand traps as well. And I'm like, how do I do this? Okay, so initially I was gonna go for an SP line just to bait the back row and then chain when he negates. You know what I mean? And then go stuff off near pitch and so forth.
To summon a tuner from deck, but then I'm locked into machine sinkers for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, I was explaining to him what
it's ignition. So I
this little guy did.
Anytime in the mini phase.
Every non-tuner's Crystron, the little ones, they pop a card to summon a tuner from deck. And he goes Majesty to pop. I'm like, yeah, this was a major misplay as well. He should have not have done this, but I think it's just a lack of insight. So hopefully he'll learn from here on. He'll learn and he'll get better, which is the goal at the end of the day, right? You want to improve. And he negates the turtle. So one turtle should not have baited so many things. I mean, if my hand was bad, I guess it would have been better if I guess if I didn't have Sofofnir in hand, I think negating that would have been pretty insane, because that means I wasted my normal summon. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, I would be kind of cooked, actually, if I didn't have Sofofnir. But unfortunately for him, I did have it. And then I just go with the motion, because now it's a matter of what is the last card in his hand. And I'm just trying to play around an Ash. So I go for this. So, like, the Smiger allowed him to play through an Ash.
add a Crystron card from deck to hand.
Because like let's say he ashed stuff off near float, I just go okay, Smyger effect, search inclusion, search sofa door, pop, inclusion sends Tristaros in the trap, and then just snowball from there. So that's why it's so good to open up those two.
His effect is I can pop a Crystron card I control to summon.
And then
I'm locked into machines. Yep.
at this point, I know that there's no ash. I was like, maybe it's another Veiler. Maybe it's a Veiler. I don't know.
You can send up to 2 Crystron cards from deck to the graveyard with different names.
Or Nibiru. A Nibiru would be devastating. I have my side deck cards there. Depending on what to send. Yeah, we'll just send those two for follow-up. Get my cluster to the graveyard so I can add it back with the Lesk. And then go for a Lesk. Lesk back. Lesk adds back the cluster.
I can add back a Crystron card from Banished to grave to hand. I will add back the strap.
And then once I get to this point, I'm like, okay, now let's check for Nibiru. So he has Nibiru. Because like sometimes nibbing on the Trist effect as well is quite devastating. So, but ashing the Trist grave effect is, I think, it's just the best way to do it because you cut them off from so many things. Summon 2, and you always summon a 2 and a 5. You don't summon 2 5s. You play into nib a lot harder that way.
So I will revive this.
Yeah. And then I'm setting up my Infinity, and I feel like that's enough because he's top decking. He has 1 card in hand, and I feel pretty good. Nova, overlift for Infinity, and then he just scoops. GG. GG.
Double invoked. That's rough, dude. Yeah. Try